Hello, my name is Rick Houston, and welcome to the Scene Vault Podcast, your source for all things NASCAR history. Presented by Las Vegas Motor Speedway, America's racing showplace.
Is that the trophy?
That is your trophy on display at his house.
That sorry rascal.
Well, yeah, you made it work. 1995 Darlington. You won that race.
I won that race. I kicked their tails. And that was the most relaxed, down-to-earth thing that I've done.
Relaxed?
Absolutely. That I had the most fun since I had when I was racing with the family back in the 80s.
But did you ever beat yourself up for running the race in the first place?
No, I would do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow, I would get right back in that car and do it again.
The day NASCAR and all of us associated in any way with NASCAR forget its past, that's the day we don't have any future.
1987, Jefferson, Georgia, Mike Alexander was scored at first as the winner. And you were not happy about it. You made the cover of my very first book, Second to None, fussing at Buster Alton over the finish of this race. What went on there?
Well, Mike and I had been the class of the field. I was, no doubt in my mind, I was the winner. No doubt in his mind, he was the winner. During pit stops, I think I changed 2 tires. He changed 4. But he still thought he won the race. He was declared the winner. He got the trophy and jumped in his truck and left.
With the trophy?
With my trophy. I think deep down he knew he didn't win the race. That's why he snuck out of there real quick. But I got another trophy. I mean, it wasn't that trophy. Mike still has that trophy. As a matter of fact, he and I, it's been a couple of years ago, he was in Spartanburg to apply for a job at another race shop, and he called me up, and he and I had breakfast together at a Waffle House close by. And he's sitting there. He got there before me. He's sitting there, and I come walking in, and we shook hands and hugged and all that, and I sit down, and he comes out. He said, "I got your trophy." I said, "Really?" He brings me out a little plastic trophy and hands it to me. And we laughed about that, but he's a really good guy.
Now,
really
is
good.
that the trophy that you said that you had, or did you actually get a replica?
No, I actually got a trophy. NASCAR had made me a replica of that trophy. So I mean, it was the same height and everything. I mean,
so NASCAR actually had to have one made because
they did.
Mike wouldn't give it back.
Mike would not give it back.
All right. So I texted Mike yesterday, and I told him that I was going to be talking to you, and he was kind enough to send me a photo that he wanted you to see.
Is that the trophy?
That is your trophy on display at his house.
That sorry rascal.
Now, he did say that it is there for you to claim. I'm a peacemaker.
See,
I'm here to.
He knows that I won that race.
I'm here to bring people together. All right. So he did make you an offer. He said once you send him the winner's share of the money, you won a little over $7,000 that night. He took home not quite $3,000. So for the difference of about $4,000 or so, that trophy is yours. So are you going to send him a check?
I'm not going to send him a check, but I want my trophy.
1986, 1987, you went out and won the championship. Hands down. There was no discussing that you were the class of the field that year. How do the two titles compare for you?
Well, the 87 title was I Told You So.
Okay.
That's, for the 1986 people that think that I couldn't have won it.
Okay.
But 1987, I showed them that, by golly, I can win it.
That was the exclamation point.
I won it decisively.
1988, you had really kind of an up and down season, and wound up third in the standings, pretty good ways behind Tommy Ellis. Was there any particular reason for that kind of drop off, or was it just one of those racing deals?
Well, we knew that in '89 we were going cup racing.
So you knew that going into the season?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were building cup cars at the time, and we didn't put as much emphasis on our Busch Series program as we should have.
Okay.
But, I would have liked to have won in '88. I think we could have if we had put our full attention on the program, but we didn't. But still finished in top 5. So
did you run any cup races in '88?
No.
You did not. So you were just building cars.
Yes.
Did you have sponsorship in place? Was there sponsorship in place that fell through at some point? It seems to me like I remember that.
Well, we had Chattanooga Chew,
Okay.
which is a chewing tobacco.
Right.
From, oh my God, way back when, 84 maybe, up until 90 or the end of '89. And there was some potential for other sponsors when Chattanooga Chew pulled out in '89 for some reason or another. But people keep saying, well, you had this big-time sponsor. Let me tell you, we didn't get a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we would try. We had Chattanooga Chew, like I said. Ingram had Skoal. And so we would compete against each other because of the two rival tobacco companies. If Jack got, let's round it off and say, if Jack got $500,000 for the year, Chattanooga Chew would give me $550,000. If Jack got $6, we'd get $650,000. Don't know how Chattanooga Chew knew how much Jack was getting. I have no idea. But they would always give me $50,000 more so I could actually have an extra engine. That's what engines cost back then.
Yeah.
So I could have one more engine than Jack did because Jack was the man to beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ran the full schedule. You ran the full Winston Cup schedule in 1989, but from cold hard numbers, it would appear to have been a struggle. Was there a sense of the team biting off more than it could chew? Was the competition just that much tougher? What was going on?
Well, the competition was definitely tougher. I don't think we bit off more than we could chew. It was back then, it was hard for a rookie driver, a rookie crew chief, rookie crew members, rookie engine builder to come into the sport and compete with the top tier teams. Unlike today, if you're a driver and you have a lot of money and you can go to an established team like Hendrick, Gibbs, RCR, and so on, they got good equipment. I mean, right off the bat. And it's not that we didn't have good equipment. We just didn't know how to use it. Plus, that was the first year, I think, that we ran. It was the first year that we ran a Buick. Heck, we didn't know anything about aerodynamics and stuff like that. We'd never been to a wind tunnel. I mean, so I mean, it was very hard. But I can tell you that if our sponsor had stuck around for another year, our second year would have been a heck of a lot better.
So how did you react to Chattanooga Chew going away?
No, I was devastated. I was mad. I thought that it was because we were asking for too much money. But later I had found out that my PR guy, and I won't mention any names, had suggested to Chattanooga Chew that they go with another driver, up-and-coming driver. And they had decided to do that. Now, come to find out, the other driver that they were going to had another sponsor lined up. So the other driver went with the other sponsor that they had instead of going with Chattanooga Chew. So that left Chattanooga Chew out in the cold, and then they had to start doing farm shows. So my PR guy at that time, he had to be going to these farm shows, which absolutely tickled the heck out of me. He was no longer in racing, and karma.
How difficult was it to shut that team down in 91?
Well, we tried to run a couple of races, hoping to pick up sponsors. NASCAR at the time was helping us get sponsors, but being the rookie that I was, rookie team and all, and our finishes, even though we did have a couple of top 10 finishes in '89, with the results being what they were, it was hard. It was very hard to get, and so we decided to shut it down. I had to start racing for wannabe car owners and picking up any ride that I could get, and which wasn't smart on my part.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be racing junk just to be out there than sitting at home.
So what did you do after shutting the team down? Because it was another, 2 or 3 years before you got the ride with Mac Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to bridge the gap with the different car owners.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, I would run as many races as they could afford. They were just trying to get into the sport like I was, the cup racing. And we didn't have any success at all. I mean, we had a few good runs, but not good finishes. And then in '93, I think, I drove for Mac Martin in the Busch Series.
How'd you get hooked up with him?
Well, Hut Strickland drove for him a few races, just part-time. And Hut, I guess he decided he wanted to concentrate more on cup racing back then. I'm not sure. But anyway, Mac Martin's PR guy called me and asked me would I be interested, and I said sure. I had seen that car race before, so I knew it was a good car. So I went up to Mooresville to the shop up there, and I started running some races for him. The very first race we ran was at Orange County. Again, I finished second to Ward Burton. Ward Burton won that race, but we were really close together. But then on, I mean, we had a lot of success at Mac Martin. We had Stanley as a sponsor, and they were in for the long haul, and we made it work.
Oh, yeah, you made it work. 1995 Darlington. You won that race.
I won that race. I kicked their tails. It was about time. I mean, I had raced there so many times and had some pretty good runs there. I mean, the first time I went, it was a mess. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But, in '95, it finally clicked. The setup was good. I mean, and I could run wide. The only time I had to back off of that car was getting into turn 1, which is now turn
whatever
it is.
Yeah.
And I was wide open the rest of the way, going through it, going into turn 1 now, which was turn 3. I mean, it was wide open, and it was great.
How big a deal was that for you after everything that your dad had done there?
Well, I mean, it was a big deal to me just to win there.
Okay.
Leaving him aside, I mean, he had so much success there, and he had tried to bang into my head how to do things there. And that day, it finally clicked.
Yeah.
And it was a great feeling. I mean, that was the first win ever for Martin Motorsports, and it was my first super speedway win. But I mean, it was unbelievably great.
Please tell me your dad was on the spotter stand with a dead radio.
I will not tell you that he was on the spotter stand. I would not have won that race if he had been. No, he was not. He was. Someone told me that he was pulling through the tunnel. He watched me go over the tunnel in turn 3 at that time, coming around for the checker flag, and then he went through the tunnel after I went by
And left. So he didn't go to victory lane.
No.
Was that something that you missed, or was he just not wanting to take any attention off
That's
you?
exactly what it was. He did not want the attention to be on him, even though I would have liked for him to be there. That's just the way he was. He avoided spotlight.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not as famous among people, fans today, like Richard. Richard will speak, talk to anyone. Well, Dad will too, if you approach him first.
Yeah.
He won't go up and start talking to people. Never did. He was shy, and I mean shy, until you get to know him. And then he wouldn't be quiet. That's just the way he was, the type of person he was. I mean, people would ask him to do stuff at the racetrack, and he said, "No, I let Richard do it." I mean, that was him.
So you parted ways with Mike, and Stanley wound up going with you to, I think, Tad
Geschecter.
Was Mike just getting out, or did you part ways? Or
You know, to this day, I have no idea why we closed, or why Mac closed the shop.
Okay.
We had a good race team, and honestly, to this day, I have no idea. I have an idea, but I won't say. But we could have done some really good things there. Really good.
After that, you had several more rides. I think Curtis Key. I know that you drove for Buckshot and Billy Jones. There were some other rides in there. What was the transition away from driving like for you? Was it something that you missed, or were you satisfied that you'd had your time in the sun, so to speak?
Well, to this day, I would still drive a race car. It's just something that I love doing. I mean, I really enjoyed racing. So that goes back to the 91, 92 days when I would pick up rides here and there. Tad Geschecter, that was just a couple of races. I mean, it was no big deal. Curtis Key racing was a disaster. Buckshot racing was something that I probably should not have done. But when you want to race, you'll race something.
So what did you do once you did step away from driving?
I sat at home. The last race with Buckshot was 1999. I sat at home during 2000, didn't try to race. I figured I was done. Then I opened up. Well, I got tired of sitting at home. I didn't open up. I worked for actually a driving school, teaching teenagers how to drive. Yeah, that's funny.
So how did that come about?
Well, I got tired of sitting at home.
Okay.
And a friend of mine's son, they had passed a law in South Carolina where teenagers at 15 or whatever, 16, had to take driver's ed to be able to get their driver's license. So that's how that started. So I said, I think I'll try that. So I started working for another driving school in 2000, worked for them for a year, and said, hey, I can do this on my own. So in 2001, I opened up Pearson Driving School, and I closed that down in January of 2021, maybe 2022. And that was the most relaxed, down-to-earth thing that I've done.
Relaxed?
Absolutely. That I had the most fun since I had when I was racing with the family back in the 80s.
Really?
It was great.
Why was that?
Those kids, they're funny as crap, especially trying to drive.
Yeah.
Most of the kids that I had could drive.
Okay.
And drove very well. The kids that I had that had never been behind the wheel, we would go to a graveyard, believe it or not. Graveyards that had roads in and out, and roads throughout the grave sites and stuff. And that's where they would learn to drive. I mean, it wasn't like they were going to hurt anybody. And, they would learn to brake and use their signals and turn correctly and mash the gas. That's where we learned to drive, or the kids learned to drive.
Okay, so you said that was the most relaxed fun that you've had in a long time since you were racing with your family. Surely you've got a good student driver story. What's the most scared you ever got? Surely you got scared.
No.
Really?
No, never. You know why I didn't get scared? Because I had a brake on my side. If I didn't have that brake on my side, I would have never done it. But yeah, I could stop them whenever I wanted to. And
how often did you use that brake?
Oh, I wore it out. Yeah, big time. Sometimes we'd be going down the road and I'd just hit it for fun, just scare them, the kids. But I mean, I had a lot of fun with them. I really, really did, and enjoyed it so much.
So you did that for over 20 years?
Yeah.
Wow. How many kids did you?
Oh, God.
Do you have any idea?
No, I don't.
Now, was it just road work, or did you teach classroom?
I had another guy teach the classroom for me.
Okay.
I had better things to do, like fish. But no, he taught the classroom, and I did the road work and give the test. They could also go through us to get their license. I never failed anyone.
Really?
No.
All right.
Because they could drive when I finished with them. They could do donuts. They could hit the wall. They could spin out. I mean, they could do it all.
Now, what was Mom and Daddy's reaction when the kids told them, "Hey, Mr. Pearson taught us how to do a donut"?
I've had a couple of parents that told me or asked, "Why did you let my kid run 95 miles an hour on the interstate?" And I said, because they would drive too slow. And I did. I had kids that would drive 20 miles an hour in a 55 speed zone because they were so scared. And so I took them on the interstate. And we got on the interstate and we hauled butt. And they liked it. And once we got off the interstate, they wanted to haul butt again. So I had to start slowing them down then. So, I mean, it just works that way. I mean, they love it. Kids love it. I mean, I guess a couple of them have had accidents since they got their license, but hopefully none of them was their fault.
All right. So, 2010 Bristol Legends race. Speaking of wanting to race and would still race, how much of that accident with Charlie Glotzback do you remember? Because he drove through your race car.
Yes, he did. And looking at the still photos, he was definitely inside there. I don't remember much. I did wake up when they were pulling me. No, when I remember laying on the stretcher when they pulled me out of the car. I remember laying on the stretcher. I remember screaming to Ricky, "Don't let them give me an IV," because I hate needles.
Really?
Yeah, I hate needles. I hate them. And he said, "Okay, I will. They won't give you an IV." Yeah, right. I passed back out. I don't remember getting on the helicopter to fly me. I woke up when I was in the air on the helicopter, and the guy that was tending to me there, he said, "You're gonna be okay. All you have is a broke leg." And I remember shaking my head yes, and then I went out again. That's it. I woke up in the hospital the day later after 6 surgeries. Both knees broken, left ankle broken, left leg broken, hip broken, right hand broken, and 3 broke ribs.
How long were you in the hospital?
I don't know.
Really?
I really don't know. A long time.
When did you start feeling like Larry Pearson again?
Well, let's see. I came home from the hospital, whenever that was. They had a hospital bed at my home. I slept in a hospital bed. I had stairs in my house. My bathroom was upstairs. I couldn't go upstairs. I had to sit in a chair on the deck outside at nighttime where my wife would bathe me. She'd pour buckets of hot water over me, get me all soaped up, and rinse me off with buckets of hot water. It was a bad time back then. When I started feeling myself, I don't know. Sometimes I still don't. I mean, sometimes you'll have these aches and pains. My knees will give out, or one knee, it'll give out, and I'll almost go down.
Yeah.
The good thing is I don't limp. The doctors up there, they did a fantastic job on me. I do have a lot of pins and screws and rods, whatever, in my body. But on occasion it'll bother me. But no, I'm great. I'm good to go now.
Did you ever talk to Charlie about what had happened?
No.
Really?
No.
You were beaten up pretty bad in that wreck, but did you ever beat yourself up for running the race in the first place?
No. I would do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow I would get right back in that car and do it again. It was great. I loved it.
Why?
It's the feeling. It's the feeling you get. It's hard to explain what racing feels like.
Yeah.
It's the speed. It's the G-forces in the corners. It's beating your competitors, being the best that particular day. And I still have that drive. I can't do it. I mean, my pride says I can, but I know I can't. But I sure would. I'd give it a shot.
Well,
At Bristol.
At Bristol?
At Bristol.
Nowhere else?
Maybe Darlington.
Okay.
That's it. Only those two places.
Well, I was going to say, I'm driving the pace truck this year at Lonesome Pine in Coburn.
Pace truck ain't fast enough.
You can drive. No, I'm saying I'll drive it. You be in the race drag you a late model up there or something.
I wish I had one. That's a.
You want to see how quick somebody give Larry Pearson?
No.
Listen, I'm not politicking for this.
My wife would kill you.
So you would, she would not.
Yeah, it would have to be secretly done before.
Then I'm out. What did it mean for you? What did it mean to you and the rest of your family when your daddy was elected to the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's a great honor. He should have been on the first ballot, but politics played a lot to do with that. Everyone knew that he should have been on the first ballot, but just wasn't meant to be. But anyway, he was there on the second. He was very proud, and we were proud, obviously, as a family, to be there. Just a big honor to do that, to get in.
How are you spending most of your time these days?
I'm staying very busy, to be honest with you. I get up out of my recliner and I go pee at least 4 times. I do fish a lot. I'm going to the Keys at the end of April to do some fishing. Me and a couple of buddies, we're going to fish down there. I really like fishing. I would like to hit Johnny Marsh up for a boat, but I don't have his number. So if you're listening, Johnny Marsh, I'd like to have a deal on a boat, a bass boat. But yeah, I do fish, whatever I want to do. Yeah. I mean, I fish. Mostly we have some rental property. Me and Rick and Eddie, and we keep up the rental property. Ricky cuts most of the grass here on the farm. That's his job. I mean, we stay busy. I mean, but we do what we want to.